No, I'm kidding.
Sheryl Crow, welcome to 98.9 KPNW. It's great to see you.
Thank you, John. Nice to be here.
You're coming to Seattle to play at T-Mobile Park on the 27th of June with Chris Stapleton and Willie Nelson and Sheryl Crow. That's you. Your new album is Evolution. It drops on March 29th. But before we talk about any of that, I have to talk to you about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I just watched it like a month ago on Hulu. First of all, congratulations.
Thank
a little overdue, but well deserved.
Wow, thank you, man. I'll tell you, I'm still high from that. I mean, it was just such an amazing experience.
Well, you were like such a centerpiece of that whole night, kind of, and you played with everybody. You played with Willie and Stevie Nicks and Olivia Rodrigo, Peter Frampton. My God, that was so sweet to see that guy, in action. And
right.
Elton John and Brittany Howard and Chris Stapleton. You do seem to play well with others.
I play really well on the playground.
Yeah.
It's funny, that whole night, there was such a build-up to it because, you're getting your family there. You're getting all of the people that have worked with you for 35 years. You're trying to figure out, okay, who's going to play with you and what are you playing? And you only have 8 minutes or 9 minutes. And by the time I got up there, it literally felt like church. To look over and see Stevie Nicks, who is the person who I could literally say, if it weren't for her, I would not be doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to have Olivia Rodrigo, who's my new young friend. I mean, I've known her now for a year, and she's precious. But then to be able to bring up Peter Frampton, who was not in the Rock Hall yet, but he was my first concert. I mean, who doesn't remember their first concert?
Right.
So, and to have Laura, who's one of my closest friends there. But I think for me, honestly, I think the thing that really summed up the whole night was getting to sing with Willie, who is one of my favorite people on the planet and my favorite duet partner. And it just was, I don't know, it felt really spiritual for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And well, what you said about Stevie Nicks, I wonder, and then about Olivia Rodrigo, for example, there's a whole generation of especially women, I think, in music who feel the same way about you as you feel about Stevie Nicks. I mean, I've talked to Chrissie Hynde of the Pretenders, and she was like, "Don't talk to me about women in rock. I'm in rock, okay? Let's not." But
right,
it's a slightly different situation than with women and men, and women sort of have traditionally not gotten the best deal in music, and to see somebody like you who's seemingly got it all together, and you are really in control of your own destiny, and you're
all
such
smoke and mirrors.
Well, that's all right, but I mean that you must feel that sort of adulation from people.
It is a funny thing because your knee jerk is, okay, I'm not good for a woman. For me, I've always been in bands that were predominantly men. Every band, for the most part, almost every band I've had has had women in it, and I've had women in my crew. But it does seem to be a delineation where it's the year of the woman, or it's the Grammys were a celebration of women, or whatever. And you get to this place like it's, okay, don't throw the bone. I find at this stage in my life that the influences, and I could safely say Chrissie Hynde is one of them, Stevie is one of them, Emmylou Harris is one of them, Linda Ronstadt. I saw myself in those women. I wanted to grow up and be Stevie Nicks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met her, and she was the hero I dreamt that she was. And she's also a dear friend, almost like family for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes bigger than music and bigger than the influence. And if I influence anyone to want to continue to do this for 40 years, like I've been able to do, then man, I don't care if you're a girl or a boy or what,
Yeah.
It's just music can be such a lifeline, and it can really lift people out of, I'm from a town of 3 stoplights. So to be in a club with the Rolling Stones and Stevie Nicks and Marvin Gaye, it's like my mind just blows off,
Pretty crazy.
Yes,
speaking of women, I just have been curious about this ever since we started playing the Boy Genius record last year.
Oh my gosh, so good.
About their song, Not Strong Enough. which
Yeah.
obviously, refers to your songs Strong Enough. How did you feel when that first happened?
They contacted me to let me know that they were doing it. And
Oh, they
listen, I'm
did.
going to tell you, there's so much great music being made
Yeah.
out there by young, fierce singer-songwriter musicians who happen to be women. And Boy Genius and Phoebe Bridgers, all three of those women are amazing in their own
Yeah.
right. I mean, Olivia is amazing in her own right. There's so much good stuff out there. Obviously, Brandy, Allison Russell, young people who are in the tradition of writing songs about what we're all experiencing, but who also are just great. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Right.
And
Yes.
for me, I go, okay, maybe I've influenced some people, but they're influencing me. I mean,
Yeah.
I get off on hearing their stuff and then want to go in and write. So
Right. Yes.
it's a cool experience, to have so many young female artists out there who are just badass,
Right.
Larkin
Yeah.
Poe, Hyam.
Right.
It's killer.
Right. Well, it's funny because I've watched many videos of Boy Genius doing that song, whether it's on SNL or whatever live situation. And it's like every single time you see them playing that song, it's like the first time, and they just look like they're so hungry but there's so much in command of what they're doing. And it's like the more that happens, the less people are going to go, oh, those are great women rockers. It's just like they're just dazzling.
They're rock stars.
Yeah.
They're rock stars.
Yeah, totally. And one more thing about the Rock Hall thing, I thought it was, I'm a parent of a 12-year-old son, and I thought it was interesting when you mentioned about whatever, you would have been happy with whatever God gave you, but you were so happy to be raising boys. And I agree with you, and I'm wondering why exactly you feel that way.
Well, I'm a single mom, for one thing, but I will say that I think cell phone, social media, it's hard to be, I remember being a teenager. I remember that feeling of feeling left out, of finding out I wasn't invited to something. And then you catapult yourself into this day and age where it's not about finding out you weren't invited to something. It's like looking at your social media and seeing that you're not in the picture with all of your friends.
You're
or
right.
that you're comparing your body or your face to the perfection of people that you are looking up to, or even your peer group. And it would be very difficult. My kids say, Mom, you were born in the 1870s. I'm constantly saying to them, don't look at your phone and decide whether you're likable. You are lovable,
Right.
and it's hard to navigate. Boys are simpler. My kids, I'll be like, okay, get off your phones, and they are immediately outside, shooting baskets or,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
practicing
but here's the only thing for me.
tasks.
It's like I am, my biggest fear is having a kid who like doesn't know how to relate to women correctly, and he plays a lot of team sports and stuff, which can be great character building and all that. But there's also the danger of it drifting into like a bro culture where they sort of feed off each other and sort of perpetrate myths about how you should be treating women and stuff. And I'm like, oh, please, God, don't turn into one of those a-holes,
That's where a heavy-handed mom comes in.
That's true.
We've had some funny conversations about, when you break with a girl, you don't just ghost her, and your
Right.
communication doesn't solely exist through texting or Snapchatting. There needs to be some speaking, using words.
That's not just that's not just advice for kids, actually.
Yeah. And you can't ask a girl to a dance on Snapchat. I'm sorry. So, yeah. And we've had some hard conversations. Boys get curious, and I'm like, look, I do police your phones, just so you know. I pay the bills, so you don't have privacy. We have all the parameters and stuff. But I'm just like, whatever it is you ultimately dig around and find, don't decide what beauty is based on what you're able to find on your phone or in the World Wide Web.
Yep.
That is not the way you measure beauty. So it's the Wild West, man.
Right.
And then you're going to bring AI into it. So
Yeah. Right. I always figure, I started as a little later than a lot of people at parenting. So I figure, but by the time it really screws him up and he's got to be in therapy, I'll be gone anyway. So I'm not going to be.
Oh, can I tell you, I'm all the time with my boys. Okay, you have a college fund and you have a therapy fund. I hope you use the college fund, but I'm begging you to use the therapy fund.
That's a good
I want you
idea.
to find somebody to talk to about how much your mom, effed you up.
Yeah, right. Yep, that's good. Okay, so the new album is called Evolution. The first song is "Do It Again," where we learn that you've read Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra, and you've tripped on shrooms. And
All of those things are true.
in an effort to, ground yourself, find your.
Life is a journey. It is a work in progress. It is for somebody like me who have been very open about my mental health challenges, high highs, low lows. I work at feeling. I work at feeling. I mean, that's the reality of it. I work at trying to control feeling as well. Of holding joy, of loving and appreciating myself, and all of those things that we all work at. I look at what's happening now, and especially after COVID, and how much we need to check in on each other, and encourage each other, and just make sure that the people around you are okay. I'm a mom of teenagers, so I read the statistics about suicide, in teenagers and stuff. I want to tell anybody that is interested that you are not alone, first and foremost, and that life starts over every single day when the alarm clock goes off. You got a clean slate. Whatever happened yesterday is behind you. And that's the way I live, and that's really what the song is about.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You're so good at this. You're so good at.
Oh my God! Thank you.
You've got a little Oprah streak going through you, I think, and just in terms of your ability
God, I
to
love
crystallize
that.
these deep thoughts. That's good. Is that what the mushrooms did for you?
Not entirely.
I think that experience, having done that too, is if that's something that really makes you internalize the idea that we're all connected, and that
Yes.
depending on what scenario you're doing it in, but
Yeah.
if you're doing one of those.
I do too. One of the beautiful things too, just having gone down the Michael Pollan rabbit hole, and the fantastic fungi, and I think one of the beautiful things about it is that we understand so little about the brain. I think we have a sense of spirit and soul and all that sort of stuff that's on the more spiritual tip, but the brain can inform us on so many levels, and that we have these like little trails that we go down from the mountaintop, in the snow, all these divots that we just always go down the same courses.
Right.
And to be able to put fresh new snow on it and not just always go to those places is a gift. And for me, has really helped me in not just doing the same things over and over.
Yeah.
And to just, let myself off the hook a little bit.
Good for you. Yeah, you got to carve some new paths in the freshly fallen snow. Yeah. Okay, so you're coming to Seattle in July with Chris Stapleton and Willie Nelson. You're best pals now.
My best buddies, my besties.
Yeah. And do you? How does that work? Staging wise, I mean, do you just go in order, or do you switch around, or how?
I do whatever they tell me.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm so happy to be there with those two guys. And, I will say, as you get older, you do feel like every time you get the opportunity to play with people that you love, that it's such a gift. You have this gratitude that does sound kind of woo-woo, but I love both of those men. I don't know. I have no idea how that will play out. I'm assuming I will go on first.
Yeah.
Which I have no problem with, but I don't know. You never know. And with Willie, I don't know if he'll go on second or if he'll finish it out. I don't know.
And there's got to be moments where the three of you are going to be out there together, right? Don't you think?
I think probably either that or on Willie's bus.
Which I hear is very, it's very smoke filled on that bus. That's what I hear. Okay, one more question, and then I'll let you go. I was in a like a casual restaurant a couple days ago with my son and his mother. We have family dinner every week, and music's playing. And I was telling my ex-wife that I was going to be talking to you, and Every Day Is a Winding Road comes on overhead on the speakers.
Oh, wow.
And she was saying, I wonder what it feels like to be Sheryl Crow when you're in the restaurant, or in the doctor's office, or in the shop, in a store, and your songs pop up. I mean, this is kind of an age-old question, but does it feel weird? Do you like it? I don't think you're singing along.
Like choreography.
Yeah.
I find, John, that I'm very big at Home Depot and Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I must have some sort of algorithm in my music that makes people want to spend money. No, I mean, I'm happy. I do feel extremely lucky that I came up when I came up, which meant that people grew up listening to whole songs. They were on the radio. People bought the records. You had a sort of tangible idea of who had embraced you emotionally, would show up for years and years at your shows or whatever.
Right.
So when I get played, it's cool. It's different, when I have kids, because my kids are like, just please don't embarrass me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when a song comes on, it's like, oh,
there's mom.
So I sort of just duck and act like I don't know who is that on the radio. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I love it.
Yeah. Well, when you're in a situation,
along, but I love it.
Right. But I mean, even if you just see other people singing along, you got to feel like, geez, I created that, and it's like resonating with people. It's so much bigger than just you. People just innately know it.
I get a lot of, gosh, do people tell you look like Sheryl Crow? And I'll say, yeah, and then they'll just kind of walk off.
You do. You look exactly the way Sheryl Crow should look, I think. It is great to talk to you. We'll see you on July 27th at T-Mobile Park with Chris Stapleton and Willie Nelson and the album Evolution. And I thought you said you weren't going to make any more albums. Didn't you say that, or was that a
Talk
misspoke?
about that, John. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Right.
Honestly. Yeah, I did. I call it a collection of songs.
Right.
That are all coming out on the same day.
Okay. Well, that's in the world we live in now. An album, a start to finish.
It's a
album.
playlist.
Yes.
It's a playlist of new songs. How's
right.
that?
That makes total sense. All right. Well, it sounds great, and best of luck with that. And we'll see you in July at T-Mobile Park. Thanks for talking to me.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye, Sheryl.